Welcome to the deep dive. Let's start with something I think we all know. That feeling of being driven. Really intense, right? We
Yep.
call it different things. Purpose, maybe ambition, or sometimes it's just, getting things done, a promotion, a big project, hitting some milestone.
Yeah, the labels we use.
And our culture, it really celebrates this. Being
Yeah.
driven feels well, like you're moving towards something good, towards success.
And that's exactly the idea, that feeling we really want to dig into today. Because what if that momentum, that energy that powers your to-do list, what if it isn't actually pulling you toward anything?
Okay.
What if it's really deep down an escape,
Yeah.
an old, almost ancient strategy to get away from something?
Wow, okay. That completely flips the script on motivation, doesn't it?
Right.
Most advice is about, clearer goals, more focus.
Right, sharpen the focus.
But you're suggesting the focus itself might be a way of avoiding something.
Precisely. I mean, picture this. A man on a treadmill. He's running hard, maybe eyes closed, sweating. He thinks he's heading for a finish line. He can almost taste the victory, but the horizon, it never actually gets closer. See, he's not really running towards fitness. He's running so he doesn't fall off the back. The running isn't progress, it's just running so he doesn't have to stop.
Yes.
And that's the core insight here, perception-wise. We start mistaking all that motion for actual meaning.
Okay. Let's unpack this. You mentioned using Gestalt psychology as a framework. For anyone listening who isn't familiar, what's the main idea of Gestalt, and how does it tie into this whole driven thing?
Well, Gestalt basically means shape or form.
Yeah.
And Gestalt psychology looks at how our minds naturally organize chaos into meaningful wholes, into patterns. It's about how we structure what we perceive. So instead of asking, what are you doing? Gestalt asks something deeper. It asks, what stands out to you right now? What's grabbing your attention? And crucially, what are you pushing into the background? What are you ignoring to make that one thing stand out?
That's a really powerful lens for looking at goals. Because what stands out is the goal, right? The project, the title, the win. That's what we call focus.
Exactly. And in Gestalt terms, that thing, that highly visible, demanding thing, the goal, that's the figure. It's sharp, it's clear, it takes up the foreground.
Okay.
And the ground, well, that's everything else, the context, the background noise, everything the figure sort of emerges from.
Makes sense.
Now, here's the twist. The really key psychological insight. That goal, the figure, it didn't necessarily pop up because it was, your soul's true calling. Often it emerged because something in the ground, something back there, became unbearable, intolerable, maybe even terrifying.
So the goal isn't this magnetic thing pulling us. It's more like a shield, something we put up to block a view we don't want to see.
You've got it, precisely. That unbearable ground could be anything, really. Fear of being insignificant, a deep dread of stillness, of silence, or maybe that existential terror when you're asked, okay, but who are you when you're not achieving something? And to keep that ground hidden, out of sight, our consciousness gets busy. It urgently makes up 1,000 critical figures, tasks, goals, emergencies.
But hang on, this sounds a bit risky. Isn't some ambition good?
Yeah.
Necessary, even. How do you tell the difference between, healthy drive and this compensation thing?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? And the difference, I think, lies in the source of the energy. Where is it coming from? Is it desire, curiosity, a sense of play, or is it coming from dread, obligation, a need to avoid a feeling? Think about, let's call her Anna. She wakes up at 5:47 a.m.
Oof, that specific time.
Right, it's precise because it's the moment her anxiety kicks in. Before her feet even hit the floor, she's scrolling email.
Oh God, I know that 5.47 feeling. Mine's usually around 3:45 a.m., but it's a frantic urge to do something.
That urge is the anxiety manufacturing the figure. For Anna, the goal is recognition, validation from outside. That's her figure.
Right.
But the ground she's running from, it's thick with fear. Maybe a memory of her dad saying, potential means nothing without results. So Anna thinks she's building towards a promotion, but what she's really doing is building this huge, distracting structure against that deep internalized fear of being worthless. She's running from the silence that fear lives in.
Wow. That makes the moment after the big win feel incredibly fragile. We've all felt that, right? The deal closes, the presentation was perfect, the project ships, and then what?
Yeah.
That weirdly quiet afternoon.
Yes, you get that hollow pause. It's not peace, not real joy. It's just quiet. And almost immediately, this uncomfortable itch to start the next thing.
Yeah, definitely felt that.
That moment, That's your psychological system basically rebooting. The figure, the target you were aimed at, it just dissolved. Poof, gone.
And the ground rushes in.
The ground rises up. And that silence, it isn't empty, it's full. It's packed with everything you pushed away while you were on your way.
Like what?
Postponed grief? Maybe.
Hmm.
Relationships you put on the back burner. Parts of yourself you decided were unproductive. Burnout, if you look at it through this Gestalt lens, isn't just being tired from working too hard.
This is more than exhaustion.
It's a collapse that comes from misperception. You've simply run out of the energy needed to keep up the illusion that all that motion was meaningful progress. Your psyche is basically forcing you to make contact with everything you avoided.
It sounds like burnout is when your unconscious finally sends the debt collector.
That's a great way to put it, exactly. Let's try a little thought experiment. Right now, think about your biggest goal, the most urgent thing on your plate.
Okay, got it.
Now just imagine, poof, it's done. Instantly completed, finished. You can cross it off the list. Now stay there for a second. In that space after it's done, what do you feel? Is it deep, satisfying relief? Or is it a sudden wave of dread, a quiet panic, emptiness? If it's more the dread or emptiness, well, that goal probably wasn't the destination you thought it was. It was the barricade, holding back the discomfort.
Right. That makes sense.
And to really grasp why this happens, we need to touch on something called field dynamics. See, perception isn't passive. We don't just soak reality up.
We build it.
We actively construct it. Our mind organizes everything, decides what becomes important, what's salient. The field is just the totality of your awareness right now. Thoughts, feelings, memories, body sensations, all interacting, all dynamic.
So when I say I chose this goal consciously, you're saying that's maybe not the whole picture.
It's part of it, sure. But Gestalt would suggest the field chooses for you, in a way. It's driven by whatever needs psychological resolution. That unresolved fear, it's like an internal alarm bell constantly ringing.
Silently.
Silently, yes. And that silent alarm manufactures these urgent priorities. They feel critical, but they're actually decoys. Distractions placed over an old wound you think you're achieving, psychologically you're compensating.
And this extends so well to our culture, doesn't it? We practically pathologize stillness. We praise the hustle, the grind, the person who never stops.
Yes.
We're basically turning avoidance running flat out into a virtue, rewarding the person who's best at distracting themselves.
We absolutely do. We mistake that compensation for commitment. We mistake rigidity for strength. And often, this relentless drive is fueled by what Gestalt calls unfinished gestalts.
Unfinished gestalts.
Yeah, these are psychological experiences that never really reached completion, never got closure, like an old belief I have to achieve, otherwise I'm worthless, or maybe an unresolved feeling of abandonment from childhood. The psyche is still trying to finish that experience, to find resolution.
And these experiences run the show from the background.
They act like perceptual imperatives running your life from the ground. You call it drive, ambition. Gestalt theory might call it compensation. It's like constantly revving your engine to hide the fact that the transmission's shot.
And you can often see this on the outside, can't you? You mentioned how the internal state maps onto the external self.
Oh, absolutely. That connection, that structural mirroring between inner experience and outer behavior is called isomorphism.
Isomorphism.
Okay, think about it. Your internal anxiety kind of isomorphically maps onto your external behavior. Watch someone who's deep in that driven avoidance mode.
What do you see?
Tense shoulders, right.
Mhm.
A very narrow, focused gaze. Speech might be clipped, super efficient. There's this profound, almost joyless efficiency about them. Their whole being, their whole organism is organized around managing dread, not expressing desire. And then when success finally hits, that rigid structure temporarily crumbles because the dread that built it is, just for a moment, suspended.
So we're just caught in this loop, reinforcing a split. Figure the output, the achievement gets brighter and brighter.
While the underlying fear, the discomfort gets darker, more unstable, right beneath our feet.
It feels unsustainable.
It is unsustainable. But again, think about burnout. It's not the system failing. It's a system correction. The psyche has just run out of road, run out of illusions. It's finally forcing contact what was pushed away for so long.
Okay, so if burnout is a correction, how does that change how we think about purpose?
It changes everything. Purpose, from this perspective, isn't some linear destination. It's not a mission statement you hang on the wall, not a 5-year plan.
So what is it?
Purpose is the quality of contact between you and your entire field moment by moment. It's your capacity to hold both things, the task at hand the figure, and the feeling underneath it, the ground, without letting either one completely take over or disappear.
That shifts the focus entirely, doesn't it?
Huh.
Away from just external results, linear output,
Yes.
towards internal integration, presence. I mean, success isn't just about how much you produce, but about the integrity of your presence while you're doing it.
You got it. That's the core. Think about rest. Productivity gurus talk about recharging your battery.
Right, like a phone.
Exactly. But true rest, from this Gestalt view, is crucial because it allows the ground to surface safely, without the pressure to perform, without an agenda, just raw, unfiltered presence in the stillness. That's the only way to actually heal an unfinished Gestalt. Not by fixing it, not by analyzing it to death,
But by feeling it.
by finally feeling it, allowing it, and integrating it into the whole.
I have to say, though, the idea of just stopping, it's terrifying.
Yeah.
Our whole society, our economy, our social validation, it all rewards motion, efficiency, output.
Mm-hmm.
To deliberately stop feels like choosing to become unfocused or unmotivated in the eyes of the world. Real freedom from those metrics, it's destabilizing.
It absolutely is. And that edge, that discomfort, that's the threshold to truth. Because when you do dare to stop, the world doesn't actually end.
Right.
But the illusion that you must keep running to be safe, to be okay, that ends. All along, you thought you were working towards a goal. But maybe, just maybe, you were working to avoid an encounter with yourself.
And that avoidance, as we've seen, just can't be sustained forever. Which leaves us with some pretty profound, maybe even existential questions from this deep dive.
Yes. What if that fear, that urgent push you feel at 5:47 a.m. or 3:15 a.m., what if it's not a malfunction? What if it's actually a function?
Not noise, but a signal.
A signal calling for contact. And what if your burnout wasn't a breakdown at all, but potentially a breakthrough?
Leading to the biggest question. What if the real work, the most important work you can do, doesn't begin when you start achieving again, but when you finally truly stop and listen?
The field is always there, waiting. Not necessarily to fix you or guide you or save you, but simply to reveal you. Whole, present, alive, completely independent of your list of accomplishments.
So only when you stop mistaking motion for meaning, only then can you discover what was there all along.
Exactly.
And it wasn't the trophy or the title or the finished project, it was just you, present in the depth of the moment.